everyone. Welcome to Financial GPS radio and audio show. This is Daisy Wang. Nowadays, global blockchain revolution and technology such as AI, crypto, and biometric no longer new to us. However, what's going to happen after the partnership between two fast-growing companies? Today, we welcome two gentlemen to our show to talk about it. Let's welcome Brian from Finnovant, Cody from GovernorDao.
Hey, how's it going, Daisy? My name is Cody Dyer over here. I am one of the co-founders and the head of business development over at GovernorDao. Thank you for having us on the show today.
Thank you, Daisy. We appreciate the opportunity to speak here today. My name is Brian Ma, the CEO of Finnovant, and we're honored to be here with Cody and yourself. We've got an incredible partnership. We're looking forward to the conversation here and our future together and all the hard work that our teams are putting together to build some great products.
First of all, I think we're really interested to know more about the two companies and about yourself. Would you please, two of you, introduce about your company and yourself?
Yeah, sure thing. So, my like I said, my name's Cody. We're over here working on GovernorDao. And what GovernorDao is, we're a governance as a service project. What that means is kind of like ownership as a service and providing a framework for businesses to be able to orchestrate their ownership and how that would expand. Because that's a very broad term, of course, the way that people would run their business. So we would like to be able to, we have about 17, 20 different services that we offer that can help you at any level of your business. And how we're kind of working with Finnovant with their groundbreaking SayTech technology to biometrically authenticate any individual, and how we're planning to use that into and integrate that into blockchain and developing that through the Ethereum network. And of course, like other networks like Binance Smart Chain, XDAI, and Polkadot. I'm hoping to aim for multi-dexed biometric authentication, and also transferring this over into the real world and how we're able to apply biometric verification for things such as blockchain voting and eliminate unemployment fraud, which was a $48 billion, not travesty, but a $48 billion error in the U.S. alone in the last year. So through products like SayTech and through projects like we're developing here, what we're calling Project Gov, we're hoping to totally revolutionize the way that people understand biometric authentication and what voting is.
That was fantastic, Cody. And Daisy, we are so excited about this partnership. Finnovant is really focused on a couple of key products. We call our flagship product SayTech or Say Technologies, which is really voice and face biometrics. And we also have the Phoenix X1, which is a very intelligent, very secure smartphone. And it can serve up all kinds of great capability and innovation within the IoT sector, and in fact, all business sectors, both in the North American market and globally. And SayTech being, operable with any language, supports any country, any language. We view the work that Cody's doing and his team is doing as critical to really opening up an incredible area of innovation in the blockchain and in areas where nobody's touched before. So our product introduction will be the first of its kind, and really providing one voice, one vote, and building a future around an incredible, secure platform of which we're very happy to work together on.
I believe 1 + 1 is not equal to, it's much bigger than 2. And by cooperating each other on the project, would you please share more about the benefit and the impacts 5 years from now?
So the way that a project like a DAO, so a DAO being a decentralized autonomous organization, which means more or less, there's no point of failure. That's everything's done in-house, and we're trying to, you split profits, you split expenses, and then that can turn around and you can incentivize community involvement by rewarding them. So the way that I see something like this working is we're able to kind of create a global registry, if you will, of unique users that are, I know you are, I guarantee you are who you say you are. And I guarantee that your action is your action. Your vote is your vote. And these are things that all of these technologies are all spread out, and we're just combining them all in one place. We're making it so that there's an infinite scalable framework that we're offering to build on top of blockchain in a box type products and governance in a prepackaged ownership, if you will. So this could expand out into, for example, just a hypothetical situation here. I have my barber, for example. I've been going to him for 10 years. His experience has gone up exponentially. He's got his own shop now. He's doing his own thing, but the price of his haircut hasn't gone up $5. So now what we can do is we can have this kind of, but there's still a demand, like around Christmas time, for example. You can't get in 2 weeks ahead of time to see my barber. You have to schedule out a month if you want a haircut for Christmas. But what we can have this to do is you could, let's say hypothetically, we could tokenize his time on the blockchain. So he could put the verifiable agreements for when he sets his cuts. We could have a representative value for the time. So let's say, the haircut's normally $20, but now it's Christmas and it's a $40 haircut if you want to get in. And if let's say I'm in line right now, I have a haircut Saturday. If you come in and you're in the shop and you say, oh, I'd like to cut you in line, I'll pay for your haircut. I'm going to say, sure, because I'm not in a rush. So what we're also going to offer this to you to do, so you're going to have your business, any type of business. So my barber, he was an accountant beforehand. So all of the information he writes down, all in the books. It's all great, all logged out. He's got how much his scissors are. Knows how much his shavers. He knows how much the lights are. He knows the entire thing. He's got this all out in his books, right? So now I don't know how familiar you are with the data economy and ocean marketplace, for example. But what this is going to allow is for people to sell any types of data sets on there. And now, hypothetically, we could take my barber, Russ, we could turn his shop into a DAO, and we could have the entire decentralized business, which is, decentralizing the expenses, decentralizing the income, and which is also now we can decentralize his time so we can get the labor force and we can have their time on the blockchain. And then we can take the entire frame of how he runs his business, and we have a working model for a barbershop. And now I can sell that data as a data set on chain. So I've got a business in a box. So I can come to Finnovant Governor and extended partners that to be named later. And we could say, oh, we're going to work on this project. Here's the business. Oh, you pick a model off our business marketplace. Which kind of business do you want to run? And as something, for example, in Wyoming, where GovernorDao, sorry, I'm on a tangent here, Brian, where we're at in Wyoming right now, actually, you guys might be excited to hear this. I haven't mentioned it before. Digital identity bill just passed this week.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's fantastic. The digital identity bill in Wyoming is for people to have their identities recognized on with their digital signature. So now at the state level in Wyoming, you are now recognized for your digital signature. So what we're aiming to do is we're trying to pop up for the unemployment fraud in the Department of Labor and Training in Wyoming is our first plan of attack here. So how this could scale out over the next 5-10 years, I'm expecting. So we have our chief political advisor. He's got a vast network of representatives and senators and legislators that he knows. We're working with one of the lead blockchain legislators in the world, Tyler Lindholm, out of Wyoming. And we're incorporated in Wyoming, and he helps to intend us build businesses in Wyoming. We're trying to get businesses built in Wyoming that are built around DAOs, and you have this mass exodus almost of, as you're going to find, of all these new businesses that are interested in DAOifying in Wyoming. And what we're going to set up is you want to call up. Actually, you probably don't even have to call. If you wanted to call, you could. But you go to our website, you talk to our people. We help you create a business in Wyoming, same way you would create a business in any other state. And then there's a lot of land in Wyoming. They have the lowest population in the U.S. I was telling you earlier that Rhode Island's the smallest state where I'm from, 45 minutes across. If we got about 1.2 million people, Wyoming is like 100 times our size and has 400,000 people. So I think that so what they're interested in doing is drawing a lot of business to their state. And what I think we can do is, I think we can, so you talk to me about what we can do in the future, and that's my bread and butter. That's all I'm thinking about, is how this scales out infinity. I'm not even living here right now with you guys. I'm living 10 years from now on how we're going to build a governor event stadium in Wyoming. And I'm going to have VR horse races there, because that's where my mind's already at. Cause I'm already back. I'm actually on back pages explaining to you thoughts that I had, a year ago, so the way these things kind of roll out and we expand with our network, and the power that we've been able to create with this partnership with Finnovant is already echoing through the blockchain community. And there's been half a dozen organizations that we've already gotten in phone calls with. And there's some organizations that are even bigger than ourselves that we're already under, non-disclosures with, who we're setting up partners with for larger products. So this thing, and we're setting a standard, for what business means with blockchain at the state level. And if you can tell by my excitement, it's with things like politics and tech. If you have a lot of these guys in here, when they come in and they say, there's one criteria, and it's if you're excited, because people are bored. They're bored by politics. They're bored by, this bureaucracy of pushing paper around. And especially with things like politics, you don't see millennials getting involved in politics. But in 10 years, you're going to have influencers and YouTube personalities running for offices. And I would like to be in a level where I can, help usher this in, and we're going to have YouTube senators within the next 5 years is what I'm thinking.
That was a great question, Daisy. And Cody, the answer is fantastic, because it really does point out that the work that we're doing right now, as critical as it is and as important as it is, we like to refer to it as the tentacles of the octopus. It really spawns all of these wonderful projects in the future. There's so many use cases for this. So when we look out 5 and 10 years, it's limitless opportunity. And what we can do together and in the market is just amazing. So yes, we're very much excited about that.
Yeah, it is really amazing. I feel not only bring us to the 5 years, I feel like you bring us to a whole new world, even I feel like 50 years from now. Cody, I have another question is for GovernorDao, what make you stand out from others on the market? In another word, how do you win Finnovant?
How we stand out is, so you have all these, especially for blockchain technology, you have a very niche type of market. And especially in a market like the blockchain industry, the industry hasn't been around for 10 years. It's barely, Bitcoin's 11, it's the whole industry has barely been around 10 years. You can't have decades more experience than me in an industry that hasn't been around for decades. So what's an interesting time is you have people, for example, my co-founder, Zane, he's 22 years old, and he's one of the smartest people I've ever met in my entire life. And that has nothing to do with the state of what with what you're doing. And your age has nothing to do with what your knowledge base is. And let's say, you pick up something tomorrow. Let's say, Brian just decided he was going to pick up blockchain racehorses. You know what I mean? And if he started right now and Madeline started, a week from now, it would have no bearing on where they got in because of when they started, right? And if you have all these financial sectors and you have these, I don't want to say this, excuse me for this term, but boomerfi, this boomer finances of this old archaic system that knows it's dying. And you have people like Klaus Schwab saying in the new world, it's not the bigger fish eating the smaller fish. It's the faster fish eating the bigger fish. The system in place knows it's dying. We're in the market to disrupt trillion-dollar industries, right? Not just millions, not just billions. We're after trillions. And especially at the rate that, so in the last year, the U.S. economy's printed over 50% of the entire GDP, the entire gross domestic product. So every dollar that you have in savings since this time last year is worth under 50% less, right? The value of it. So the buying power is falling out the backside. So you have these entire middle class. They're basically eradicating the middle class by devaluing their labor, devaluing their time on the backside. And that's a whole other beast that if you chop off one head, you just end up with another part of the Hydra, right? So that's, I don't necessarily want to get too passionately involved into those types of conversations, because I'll get angry, because, people like my father, who've been working his entire life, he's a master electrician, been doing everything by the books, and he's not making out because the system in place is not meant for the working class to succeed. They're not interested in helping us grow. They're not interested in my grandkids. I have to think about them. So in long story longer, Daisy, I think we won Finnovant because of our view for where we are, what the space is, what they have, and how we can get it to everyone. Like, I came in, to them with like, I have a benevolent global, domination plan going. I think that we can take this thing by storm, and it's not even going to be hard. All we have to do is just do it right.
You talk about the market. Actually, next question maybe for either of you or both of you. What's the biggest market for you to address? What would you like to say to the audience who are involved in that kind of market?
I think our biggest market is the Department of Labor, the Department of Defense, and private sector. Those are the people I'm aimed at. So you're going to, forgive my candor, but you have a lot of people in crypto Twitter that, there's some guys with a couple $1,000s, looking to make a quick 100x, and we call them, moon boys, people that are just trying to shoot for the moon on a project and sell quick. And I could care less about, moon boy swing stacks, people trading their bags around trying to make a couple bucks, because, there's, like a 40, excuse my guesstimate. There's like a $40 million contract in, I think it's like West Virginia, for a 6-year military mobile voting blockchain app for 2,000 people. And it's junk. It doesn't even work that well. So that's something that could be going back into the people's pocket, B, my organization's pocket, and C, all of my investors' pockets. So what's a beautiful point I want to make about Governor is that by owning Governor, there's 3 million tokens ever, right? And by owning Governor, you have a say in the share of the company. So that's the same way of owning, like any other company with shares owning it. But this is actually, like you're voting. And then what we're hoping to introduce is concepts similar to how dividends work and passive payouts from our contracts. So like we have a product, we're working on our proof of concept here with a massive referral program for anybody who, connects people to the F whitelist. And that is something that pays right back into the Governor pocket. Any money that GovernorDao makes is not made by like me. Any money that GovernorDao makes is made by GovernorDao. You Daisy, if you jumped into GovernorDao right now, all of the money that GovernorDao makes is now part of you. And for example, our treasury, where we started collecting our liquidity, if you own GovernorDao, you now have a holding in wrapped Bitcoin, wrapped Ethereum, you have Chainlink, you have US dollar coin, you have YFI, you have SNX, you have AV, and you have Uni. You have 8 of those tokens that are backed up in our treasury. So those types of concepts and like decentralized ownership is really the big selling point about how you can do things as a school of fish concept. And, we can do it in a way where if Brian and I do a transaction and we're using it on our network and it costs, and I give him $1, he could make $1, $1.01 because he owns part of the network and the network is creating value within itself. So as you incentivize these types of networks and, for example, like, so as you get into, economics and things like that, you see people and they're like, oh, like, why don't you sell? Like, what, like those types of things. It's like, because the way that the money works or whatever, it's, you don't ever want, like, people are like, oh, we'll trade in Bitcoin when we'll do all our, our sales in Ethereum. No, as a wealthy person, as a person creating wealth, you never want to leave the dollar. You just want to have assets that are infinitely printing against the dollar. So like, for example, like Bitcoin doing 1,000% in the last year, Chainlink doing 1,000% in the last year. GovernorDao doing 1,000% in the last 3 months, those types of things. And the reason why you see these Fortune 500s that are, putting 10% of their balance sheets into Bitcoin is not because they want to invest in Bitcoin. It's because they're shorting the dollar, because the dollar's falling out so the way that these types of things, and especially from our standpoint, okay, the rate at which these technologies develop, as they get more sophisticated, they adopt faster. There's a concept of, it took 100 million people 70 years to use the telephone, but it took 3 months for 100 million people to play Candy Crush. So the way that these technologies are expanding is so rapid. And that's like, there's been over 200 new tokens in the last 2 weeks. There's 100 tokens a week popping up. You can't possibly in any world keep track of them all. And honestly, you don't want to. But what we do want to do is find projects that are going to stand the test of time. If I can bake value, infinite value into those tokens on the backside, you're going to be all set anyway.
I think, Cody really hit a lot of very important points there. And, from our perspective, we are in total agreement, and we view the customer contacts and the approach that Cody's talking about are completely in line with our thinking. And we also believe that there's an international audience here, that as we move out of North America and into Southeast Asia and Europe and the Middle East and South America, there's lots of opportunities for what we're doing globally. And, as this video is translated into Mandarin, we expect that it'll play in places and audiences where people want to invest in our cryptocurrency, where they want to take advantage of GovernorDao's voting mechanism and SATEC and the Phoenix X1. And so that's what excites us a lot, is the growth potential and the global nature of what this is.
I heard just now Cody talk about the token, and I see GovernorDao currently trading on the market and with a symbol like our GDAO. Finnovant, I heard Finnovant is on the way too. Would you please share something about those tokens, and also how do you partner together to make their success?
I want to run Governor to be a pillar, if you will, for a standard of how fair vote and governance can work. And what we're building out, with this verifiable network of, unique individuals who are, almost a whitelist, so what we're trying to create is a pre-registered base. We're going to start with a Genesis token, like a beta token almost. So we can this is, as we see, it's infinitely scalable. So how we kind of want to go about providing it first for ourselves. And then what Governor is, using it kind of like an incubator. And we're going to be able to kind of build out all these indefinite roles and all these beautiful products. And we're going to create an entire a business suite, of offerings that we have, that we can provide. And we're going to make it very simple for, that to kind of, translate. And I think that as we're, what we're building up now, and we're going to create this perfect little incubator with all of the steps, and we're going to have checked all our bases and make sure we know exactly what we need, and all the trials and errors of all the companies we've worked with and all the things we've done before. And we're going to help Numi out and be the best. From the launch, it's going to have a 10-year plan. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to have all of it's going to be, it's got the products, the plan's going to be ready to go for you to probably set up in a 10-year investment. I'll probably opt in to, stake for 10 years or something if they sweeten it up with a phone or something like that, so whatever, anything is possible. And if we can put it under a proper scope and under a great framework with the best intentions, there's no way we can fail.
Fantastic answer. And Daisy, I really appreciate that question, because we both look at these cryptocurrencies, these utility tokens, as a way to create value for everybody who invests in those. And I believe that your audience who watches this video, and especially globally in other countries, will find a lot of reason, a lot of interest to buy GDAO, to buy Numi, to take a look at our company, so take a look at our project and think about where we're headed down the road, because we've got real products, we've got real projects, and there's incredible value in the investment of these. So we're very excited about that and the opportunity to get this in front of them. And as an investor, myself in cryptocurrency and in Cody and the rest of the team, we see this as a great opportunity in our partnership, being co-owners of each other's crypto, also as a store of value and a great way to be, just interfacing together and have that collaboration, but also to show the world that we really believe in each other's companies. So we really appreciate that. It's a great question.
I believe the great projects are all done by great people. And I know both of these two companies are global team. Would you please share about planning for expand to other areas, other regions, or how do you build the global team?
It's a great question too. We're actually in the process working with Cody and his team to loop them into our team in Hong Kong and China. And we have representatives in other countries, in Thailand and in Africa and Japan and Indonesia, Malaysia, different places where we're operating and where we have feet on the ground, where we're talking to people that are helping us, not only from a sales perspective, but from business consulting and, government affairs, this kind of thing. We've got a footprint in Europe to some extent. And so we're starting off on a process to pull Cody and his team in with the Southeast Asia group first. That'll happen. And then we'll start to loop in all the other regions. But we view the Southeast Asia region as being one of our critical focal points because there's a lot of money there and they have huge interest in crypto products, especially like GDAO and Numi, because these represent excellent companies that they can invest in. We also see the very bright future. We're working on a product called Cryptic, which is a wallet that allows you to store all of your cryptocurrency and trade it. And then there's the accompanying Cryptic exchange, something that we can talk about again on another video. But with that, we're working to implement GDAO within that framework and Numi so that they can be stored and traded. So this opens up a lot of opportunity, especially in countries in Southeast Asia, where they have a huge desire to invest in these products.
Yeah, and that's like one of the beautiful parts, especially about the global economy, if you will, and the internet. Like I'm of the impression, borders aren't real. All my best friends are around the globe. I've known people like my whole life. I've got a friend I've been playing video games with for 15 years. Never met him. You know what I mean? Like, so those types of things it's not an issue of if I know you in person or not. And especially with the blockchain and the big sell on why I got into blockchain. And when I read the Bitcoin white paper and he was talking about trustless networks and eliminating the need for trust. You and I don't have to know each other, anything about each other to do business as long as our smart contract interaction meets terms. I don't have to trust you to trust you. And that's one of the best parts about business, because because Bitcoin really doesn't matter for business, but smart contracts, that's insane what that can do for, industry. So, and then everybody's just applying, codes on top of that, infinitely scalable. And especially with organizations like GovernorDao, we were never in one place. Our founders are global. From the first week, our team is in Europe. From the second month, we had our project manager in Australia, and people like that they're infinitely valuable, and it makes sense that there are like individuals like myself. I've never met anybody that is just like me. If I did, I'd be scared because they're probably a little overwhelming. So it's like there's a reason why all the people I'm connecting the most with, who I'm getting the most work done with, are people that are scattered across the globe, because we're all one in a million. and we're all coming together to make a once in a lifetime project.
Great. Time is always flying when we talk about those exciting topic. At the pretty much end to the end of the show, what final words would you like to share to the audience? And especially if anyone interested in the product or any questions, what's the best way to contact two of you?
The best way to look for information on Governor would be the GovernorDao.org website, and following our Twitter, believe it or not. I believe Twitter is actually the best exchange of information in the world. It's actually the worst exchange of information in the world too. So you kind of have to, the double-edged sword with it. But the rate at which information is exchanged on products like that, it's instantaneous, it's global, and they don't put up with, any crap. So those types of places are the best place to learn about us. Our Twitter, our website, my email, Cody.d@GovernorDao.org. It's a good way to keep in contact with us for anything business related. And I think, looking into the future, the best thing that, because I don't think that anybody needs to be invested to want fair vote. I don't think that you need to have money in GovernorDao, a solution to fraud. I think that that's something that we can all unite on, wanting fair vote. And I think that that's something, especially across the globe, I would like to create a global governance organization that could, be your backup if you're, in some random part of the world where your government is maybe mistreating you. Oh, I got a global organization that you can't shut down.
And thank you for that, Daisy. And on behalf of myself and Cody and Chris and Madeline and the whole team, we just want to say thank you and to your audience for the wonderful time here, being able to present and talk about our products and our projects. We have our website, www.finnovant.com, and we'll have lots of social media. We're working on that. Madeline's working on that on our team to help tie in, to Cody's point, Twitter and Facebook. And there are different, LinkedIn information that we send out, and then globally with WeChat and other channels. We definitely want to feed all of that into these different regions and get the word out, because we also know that your listeners, they get very excited about this type of a project that's happening that is so unique and so innovative. And if they want to talk to us and learn how to invest and learn how to get involved, we would love to hear from them. And through those channels, we also have a newsletter, which is great to kind of keep in touch with what's going on. And there'll be press releases as we continue forward and other media events. Cody and I have a speaking event in another month and a half. We'll be doing a big speaking event in front of a large group. So these kind of things will help feed out. But thank you for that. And thank you for the opportunity to speak here and present to your audience.
Great. Thank you so much for the two gentlemen on the show. And also, if anyone have any question, you can directly contact the two companies. And also, you can leave your comments in the description area below the video. Again, thank you very much. And I myself learned a lot. And I look forward to the next one. And also, best wishes to both of your two companies.